Well, pretty soon my wife and I will celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary. And as we were discussing this momentous occasion, we remembered a time when we were engaged. And in celebration of our engagement, my wife encouraged me to go camping with her. Now, I'm from Waterbury, and we don't do a lot of camping in Waterbury. But I was trusting of my new bride, and though suspicious, I decided to take her up on the offer. And we went to a gorgeous state park up in Maine, hundreds of miles in this forest. And when we arrived, the park ranger said it's a slow time of year and that we would be the only human beings in this large state forest. And he said, even I will leave the park tonight. And I should tell you before I leave that there have been quite a few bear sightings in the area, so good luck. Well, we were young and in love, and so we decided to have an adventure. We pitched the tent and we went for a hike in the gorgeous wilderness of Maine. And as we were hiking down a beautiful trail, we heard some rustling in the woods and a groan. And I was convinced at that moment it was the sound of a grizzly bear preparing to eat us for breakfast. And so I did what any brave, loving husband would do when his beautiful bride was endangered. I ran for my life. Now, I'm not proud of this, gentlemen, but I was a good half-mile down the road before I even turned around to see if my wife was okay. And when I did turn around to look, I saw her calmly, confidently strolling up the path, shaking her head, and we still have a very vigorous argument as to what exactly we heard in the woods that day. But I learned something very important as I was running in terror. Number one, my wife is far more courageous than I will ever be. And number two, fear is a very powerful thing. Biologists tell us that our bodies are hardwired for just this kind of fear-based response. They tell us that fear played an important evolutionary function back in the days when wild animals were actually chasing us, when a hungry saber-toothed tiger was pursuing. And we developed this biological response that scientists call the fight or flight response, when a whole host of hormones and chemicals like adrenaline course through our veins and prepare our bodies to fight or to flee. So our heart beats faster, our vision actually becomes more acute, blood is sent to the muscles and the outward extremities of the body, so your body physically prepares to fight, or in my case, to flee. But scientists also tell us that instead of using these fear hormones just in emergencies, doctors tell us that we're now activating this fear response continuously, almost all the time. We've become so addicted to control that when there's a traffic jam, or when we don't have cell phone service, or when the internet is a few seconds slower than usual, our bodies are responding as if we're running away from a grizzly bear in the Maine wilderness. All those chemicals are being pulled through our bodies on a nearly daily basis. Of course, there are more significant fears in our lives than slow cell phone service and slow internet speeds. There are more significant fears, aren't there? And since 9/11, we fear that we're not safe. We seem to live in a whirlpool of fear. We fear decisions that our children will make and decisions our children won't make. We fear getting sick. We fear taking care of loved ones who might get sick. Even if you look underneath your anger, you'll often find that fear is there. You see, our bodies weren't designed to be continuously bathed in a bath of toxic chemicals and stress. For our ancestors, this fear response had a function that was survival. But in our time, this fear response is literally killing us. The most common form of